it always trips me out how like AI looks at the stuff and how it shows it. Because when you use your eyes and you look out the window, it looks very different than this. And it's trippy because it looks kind of like a winter wonderland right outside the window. But it's really dark. So I just opened the window just so it would be, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. And who knows, maybe the sun will come up before, it's only 5, but who knows? I don't know. I talk a long time sometimes. So maybe the sun will start coming up. Well, it should. I think it should. Yeah, you should see it. It'll start coming in and making that weird light. And what I didn't finish saying the other day, when I was sitting outside and I looked up at the sun, because I had been looking and looking, trying to see it, and I couldn't see anything. But then when I was sitting in the chair and I looked straight up, which is when the first time I'd seen it to begin with, and but there was lots of times I've been looking and looking while the sun has been going and I haven't been able to see it. So I was really surprised when I looked up and I saw it. And so and you do these pictures and there's still people coming in. Oh, what do you mean that's sundog? Oh, Jesus, people. So whatever. This is what I was seeing all the way back in 20, whatever it was. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my fucking, when I lost my Facebook and all that. And I just had no idea at the time, you know, when I was putting in all of those pictures, because it started for me on the Facebook. It was before the 2016, because that's when I started seeing how the one side felt about Hillary. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? There is no fucking way this chick is going to make it. Like, what? She wasn't worried, though, because she was Jean. She didn't give a fuck. So that wasn't her concern. But when anybody who was watching the social, who was paying attention to the people and listening to what the people had to say, it damn was clear who was going to win that thing. And even with their cheating, it was a huge, I mean, people hated her. And so, that's when, and it is when they screwed over all of us, Democrats. There's all these different, because now it's liberal, because now it's going into extremist, you know, because it's gone beyond. But that is something I want to talk about too with the people, because I'm from that group of people. So I know this group of people well, you know. I mean, it's all the people I know. Like, I'm very isolated. So, but the, let me think. So, and it's also weird too, because yesterday when I was talking, oh yeah, okay, so I was talking about the thing up in the sky. Okay, because I want to talk about the sensor. There's so many things. See, sometimes it is like a whirlwind in there. It's like you're catching it as it's going, and then everything is connected. I'm telling you, when you start seeing it, and that's what I didn't finish yesterday when they had showed me where all of a sudden I just saw it, and it was weird because I was with my daughter and we were driving, and I looked over at a tree, and all of a sudden it was like they used this tree, and I could see everything. I could see how everything was connected, like the cycle of life and the connection of all things and stuff. It was so weird. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can see it. It's all right there. And she's like, what are you talking about? What can you see? And I said, it's like all of life, everything. It's all connected, and it goes. And I don't even know what I was seeing at the time. I don't even remember. I just remember that how it was so profound to me. All of a sudden, it was like I understood things that I didn't understand. And see, that is what the use of the seeds that are planted through your life, that they use them when they come back in to make something understanding for you. They use it like it's going to line back up with something that happens in your life. And so then they take those seeds and they throw them out there. And so when it happens, all of a sudden, it all goes together. It's like a completed picture all of a sudden, and you get it. It's like, oh my gosh, that is so crazy. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. You'll just see it. And all of a sudden, it's just something you just see. And that is how, you know, that's how it's worked for me. So I can only share what works for me. Like, there may be different things each person's going to have to try and do for themselves to work on their communication. I don't know. It is, but that is kind of how it works for me, is like these seeds that I never even think about at all, like just a little thing that somebody said or somebody did or whatever throughout your life that you don't even, and then all of a sudden comes back at this very specific time. And, and some people, I guess, the egomaniacs of the world, they think their brain is just sitting there doing that for them as a gift, I guess. But I know it's guidance to help us along our way and to help us to see and to understand things, because it gives you more peace in life as you're going when you understand what you're doing. That's why they want you disconnected. They don't want you to feel that peace. I feel very fortunate that they couldn't do that to me. And so, I can just keep trying to help other people reconnect with themselves, so that they can get back to that feeling. It's not like, through my life, it was very, very hard. It wasn't like it made my life easy, but it was when you go through the hard things that they tell you why and the reason and stuff. And even you can only understand, it's not like they'll explain everything. It's kind of like when you have a kid and, a 1-year-old asks you, or not, let's skip up to it. 3-year-old asks you something, and a 7-year-old asks you something, and a 10-year-old asks you something, and a 15-year-old asks you something. You give them all a different answer. You give them an answer that they can understand at the time. They can't understand. The 3-year-old can't understand what the 15-year-old can understand. So it's the same thing with us when they're communicating with you. They're going to give you the information you can understand, but that it's constantly evolving. It's constantly going more in, because everything is connected. And you start seeing the connections just naturally. It wasn't like it was forced on me or something. It has been so simple. Like when they, the way they got me to understand everything is a perspective. Everyone's perspective is different. In the way that they showed me this. And I don't remember what the situation was that all of a sudden backed it up, and they showed me where I was like, oh, fuck, yes, that makes so much sense. But it was kind of like a whole week, I think, where they were kind of kept showing me about perspective. And I can't remember every single one of the things, because I'm sure there was a lot of little things, like, somebody would do or say something and they would make something lean. So I got, okay, that's their perspective, and then they'll pull it all together. And so the perspective thing was, they showed me standing out in an open field. And then they showed me that every single, like, no matter where I moved my eyes, looking in the field, looking out towards the sky, the ocean, whatever you want to see, it doesn't matter. It can be the mountains. It could be a shopping center, whatever it is. When we're standing in the parking lot or we're standing in the field and we're all looking at something different. We're all noticing something different. We're all seeing different things. And that's why it is so important for us to all share what we see, because it completes the picture when we all are sharing what we see. So the picture is all our perspective. It's all of what we see ourselves and what stands out to us. And so, and your perspective is all built on well, for one thing, your lessons and your life, but it's also built on what things for your there's also specific, your lesson plan is directly related to what you are, as your soul is trying to experience, so it can it's like what I talk about when you go to the life review and the people go through their life and they make mistakes. They are mean to certain people. They fight with these people, blah, blah, blah. Then they get to their life review. Then they go through the life review and they see it. Only they see it in observation. That's why the more you pull yourself into observation in this world, out of reaction, because reactivity is the lower chakra. Being reactive is pain and suffering. It's unresolved. And so being reactive right away, if somebody is reactive towards you right away, like, oh, they're triggered, man. They've got some issues. So don't react back. That's just, then you're just two toxic people fighting. You got to be the bigger person to just acknowledge, or, you don't have to say it to them. Oh, well, I guess you're triggered, aren't you? Well, too bad for you. None of that kind of shit. It is just recognize and acknowledge for yourself to be like, okay, I can see this is about to go in sixth grade argument. So let's just call it good. Let's just talk about this later when we both have got ourselves calm. Like, each person's going to have to figure out the approach that they do to set their boundaries to keep from going into these toxic situations, because the people who are toxic will try and pull you in because it's the only thing they know. Is that drama, is that fighting, is that arguing, is that I'm better than you, you're so stupid, my perspective is the right one, no, mine is, this back and forth bullshit. That is counterproductive to, it's productive to loneliness, it's counterproductive to connection, to feeling good. I mean, how many times you sit there and you fight and argue and you're right, and then you spend the next 12, 24 hours completely by yourself crying and feeling completely alone and cut off. And, and those are the times of reflection. Those are the times when, for me, because I've had so many of those, believe you me, no relationship junkie has not had their share of fights. There's so many. I've spent a huge part of my life fighting. But that is when I would go and sit and they would tell me something, or explain something to me so I could see it in a more clear way. And so it would give me more perspective, but I wasn't healed. It wasn't like they could go in and tell me, because you could hear, and this is why I talk about this all the time, is because I know as a person who wasn't healed, you could hear certain things, but you don't hear them the right way until you get to a certain point. And so you won't hear it right. And so it won't compute. It won't make sense. And so I know that it all has to do with when you come to your place, that it's very defined in each soul's lesson plan. But so let's say you go to your life review and you go in and you go into observation and you see what you did and you experience what the other people felt. And then you feel, well, I could have done so much better. Oh my God, I can't. And you're going to feel it in a different way than when you are experiencing it. Because when you're experiencing it, you are focused on your emotions, what's going on in your head. That's why it's important to clear your head of all the noise, of all of the people in there who are just chattering away. Oh yeah, blah. You got to shut those motherfuckers up. And they're always kind of, I'm telling you, all throughout the day, I got to shut those motherfuckers up. No matter what, we all have them. We all have these dirty, dark attachments that just sit there talking shit all day. And so you got to realize that they're there to beat you down. It's not to necessarily beat you down, but it is... Because remember, everything is like, it has a different purpose. But to us, it is going to feel like it's held back. But it's a protection mode. It's like a protection mode that we have. Like your ego is there to kind of protect you, to keep you safe. So you don't just go out and just do whatever. But an ego can be very inflated. So ego is a complex thing that people need to get control of. Because your ego is also, will tell you, don't go interact with them. No, you're better than that. No, you don't need it. But that's the stuff, to me, where one thing that they fuck with me, I feel like a lot through the day, is trying to create doubt on my own thing, using time and stuff like that, using the physical reality to warn me, no, you're just crazy. That stuff's not going to happen. Why hasn't it happened yet? They'll just sit there and do that. It's energetically just kind of draining. So it's just constantly, or I'm just like, shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of here. And but each person you have to notice, because to me it's just an energy that would just beat you down. It just makes you feel beat down. But so when the people go to the life review and they see themselves in that observation thing, see, they want to, it isn't just like things, if we all just went in, okay, just think about this. If we all just went into these incarnations, we as souls, we all just plowed through, came into this earth plane, and we just all went into utter chaos. And then we left and we just went into another life, and then we just came back and we just went into utter chaos. And How long could the universe sustain that kind of situation? You know, it would make no sense. Things have to rebalance. We have to put the balance back in to keep things in flow. We can't just keep putting things out of balance, out of balance, out of balance. That is kind of what we're getting to witness here, is because in this 3D realm that they had created, that they had got things so out of balance. And so we can see what happens when things get out of balance. When you're in balance, the pendulum doesn't swing way over here. It doesn't swing way over there. This is out of balance. This is when we're just going like, which way do we go? We're going to go way over here. Oh, well, what happens? We'll go way over there. We'll go, okay, well, what happens if we go way over here? And that's what we're experiencing. We got way over here. We've gone way into the dark. We've gone way into, you know, we got all these people, the perverse and stuff. And now I have seen, when they had told me that or showed me that, you know, there's stuff that they'll tell me or show me or whatever, and I'll just say it. And sometimes I'll even think like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll be wrong. But I always have that thing, well, there's not really that many people who even know who I am. I could just go right out and just disappear in the world. So it wouldn't really matter. And the TikTok too, on the censorship, I gotta say this because it's just so ridiculous. Like, and I know they're doing something on this one too. But on the TikTok one, so yesterday I did like 20 videos. Like, there was just things that they were making stand out to me. And I was just going. And every one of the videos goes to, it's usually like 220 or 240. It hits on certain things. And then it will sit there. And then it might get like 1 or 2 more views or whatever. But they'll sit there all the time. Like, you go down all my whole TikTok page, you'll see 220, 200, and it's so stupid too, because most people who have that many followers, that's how many likes they get on a video, not how many views you get on a video. I may get like 2 views. I mean, 2 likes on a video. And so, however, they use the algorithm to kind of defeat us. And so, and it's frustrating. It absolutely is frustrating, especially when you see all these people's account growing who are saying all this stuff that to you sounds like ridiculous. And you feel like, you know, people are being misled. And so it's frustrating. But anyways, you know, I just got to trust the universe. So what the universe is going to make it go the way it's supposed to go. And so man, I got a lot of things open right here. Okay, so but the thing that got me this morning, what I wanted to say, was so there's all these 20 videos, which it goes way more than 20, but, and they all have like the same, except one I think had 300. And, because I did a few of these little snappy ones that normally those ones should be going viral every day. Those ones, like, I know. And so they hold it back. I know that's one reason why they hold it back, because it is, my videos kept going. I was getting tons and tons of views, and they would go viral all the time. And so immediately they stopped, and they kept tightening it. Before, I was getting more views than 200. Like, this 200 thing is wackadoodly-doo. And then, but there was a video that I had talked about that had motivated my whole thing yesterday, and I talked about it on here. And I did a video talking about it, and it was serious. And it was an explanation over what was going on. And see, they don't want people, because I'm always trying to figure out, like, what is it? Why is it that they block me? I know they're blocking other people, but I'm not living their lives. I can only know mine. That video had 21 views or something. So completely. So that gets me to where it's not just like a dam opening, closing. There's specific videos that they hold, even tighter than the ones they hold. So I just do not know how they do this. And it's so aggravating. And a lot of the ones that I'll do those kinds of things, they'll even just close them down and say that they're go against community guidelines for... Yeah, you know, and so they'll just take the videos down. They'll take my sound out. They'll do all sorts of stuff. So, and I know that they're holding them back and everything. It's just frustrating. And but see, you have to just keep going, because your inner guidance tells you don't pay attention to that. Keep going because of what we are telling you. And so you keep going. And so that's where you keep building your trust towards what they're telling you. Although the 3D not showing something can make you feel like, well, these two, that's inconsistent. They're telling me to keep doing this, but there's nothing in the physical to keep me motivated. So you have to connect with yourself. As self-motivation is part of resilience. Is you got to keep yourself going, even if things don't make sense. It's up to you to keep yourself going. And I just think the reason I say that is because I think that while I've been doing this, well, I mean, I've had my family tell me to stop a lot of times, but I think there's a lot of people who would stop. They'd be like, well, this isn't going anywhere. And that is where you don't just stop. If they're telling you to do something, you keep doing it until they tell you to stop. And then when they tell you to stop, then you'll know to stop. And if you're not listening, if you're like, well, maybe I'm supposed to stop. I mean, nothing's happening, because I go through these arguments. And then they'll show me something that is happening. And they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, yes, I am getting a little too want the magic. Come on, bring on the magic. And so, but I just feel like so many people just give up because the 3D isn't giving them back what they think that they should be returned to them. And so that is a part of resilience, where you have to override that system and stick with the system, the internal one, that is telling you what to do and where to go, and stay with that one. Because I think that is where I'm talking about, where you get on the two timelines. You're on the timeline where you're not sure. You have to learn how to love yourself. And then you're on the one where you have realized, for sure, you love yourself. Like, it's a completely different, it's like you leave an old rickety train that's all like going like this, jumping, and then you go on like this one that is, you leave that timeline train and you get onto this other one, and it is like sleek. It's like fast. It is. It's up to date. It's the highest, the most evolved kind of. I can't think of the words. I can see it so well, but I don't know how to explain it as well. But it's real pretty. It's so shiny. It's like a yellowish kind of color. It's like super fast. But that train is completely different than this one. And so your life changes, when you get on this train. But you got to keep yourself on that train, because there's things that will happen, especially in the beginning, to keep thinking, well, you got to get back on that other train. This train, this is way too big for you. This is way too fancy. Well, I don't know about this train. I better get back on the shaky one, where, at least even if I'm headed nowhere, even if it's a rough ride, at least, I know I'm with the big group. I'm accepted. We're all holding hands together. And so, and how they know that, how that's all in the CIA file, like how they have been studying us and studying us and studying us for so long. Somebody even found an ad for the Chrome in the 20s in a paper. So, this shit, I'm telling you, they have reset things outside of what the cosmic resets in order to try and control us and complete their story. They're these mad masterminds. It's crazy. But anyway, so when the people pass over and you go and you leave that place that holds you, and you are able to let go and go into observation, to detach from the role, then you can see the part you play and how you affected others, which in putting things back in balance is a natural motivation of the soul, so that you see what's out of balance and then you want to go in and fix it. That's how the incarnation cycles just keep going and going and going, is this constant this desire to do better and to learn more. And every time you go back in, you learn more. But like I said, that a soul can spend lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime trying to work on these same concepts, trying to really understand, to get it from all angles, because all angles, just like a science experiment, the hypothesis, all angles have to be checked to make it a complete, for sure. It's impossible, because there's always there's always a possibility of something. I can't think of the words. Like I can see some of the things that's frustrating because I can see them, like see a textbook and see the words, but I can't make out the words and stuff. So it's like, but if you get what I'm saying, it is, anyways, just as, hopefully get what I'm saying, because I want to go to this other thing. So when I was outside and I was sitting, and I looked up and I saw the Nibiru thing, and it was huge. Like last summer when I was sitting outside and I was getting lots and lots of videos of it, and it wasn't near as big. It was way bigger than a halo. I mean, it was big. Like even when I was driving on that road trip and I kept saying it was like, it was tripping me out because I kept feeling like somebody was next to me on the other side of the car and I had to keep looking. Like it was really weird. I could feel its presence. I could see the shadow and how big and dark it was. And so, but it's something with angles. I think that's why they're constantly trying to spray, because there's certain angles, and the angles make a difference of where you are on this earth plane, because I know that there is things that are different than what we understand about how this place is. And there's like hidden truths or something. And even if you use their satellite cameras, like now knowing like the NASA, all that shit is all fake and stuff. So I mean, you could be going and think you're looking at a camera and you're just looking through a viewfinder, for God's sakes. I don't know. This stuff is so much more. I mean, they were able to fool the whole entire world. So it's pretty damn, complex. So, but there's something with the angles, because you can see it in certain places depending on how it is angled and where this thing is at. And I think it's moving too, because sometimes I don't see it over here. And then a lot of people are getting pictures of it over on the East Coast. So that's why I'm like, it's got to be like some sort of movement. It's not always where we think, it's not just like with the sun, traveling with the sun. And so I just happened to catch up when I looked up, and it was way, way bigger. Way bigger. And so it's way closer. And then when I was on Facebook, and it was way before being awake. I mean, it's just like after the election. There was so much drama on there on the election, and that was for sure waking me up to the government. I was already awake because as a kid, I was constantly telling people stuff about the government, like, because I could see it. They would show me things would happen, and they would show me and tell me. So it was constantly telling people, but nobody would ever listen to me. Everybody just thought I was just this weird kid. And so nobody would ever listen to me. And, I think it's, if you've got a kid telling you some things, you should at least listen to them. And so, it wasn't coming from me. It was coming from something outside of me that was telling me stuff. But, and even when I have told my mom that throughout time, she always says like, no, that's devils. You don't talk to the devils and demons and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's not. Devils and demons are not trying to explain to you how to have a better life and be more peaceful and more aware and stuff. So, but, that's for a person to understand, to use your critical thinking. So you can, but, everybody's in these mind traps. So but it was when, it was around then too, was that old high school person on my Facebook. She had started asking me about the chemtrail things, to ask my cousin, because she had looked through my stuff. It was so strange. I was really surprised because I didn't even know my cousin was a scientist. And she had looked through all of my stuff. Like, some people really had a lot of time on Facebook, man. I was never one of those people to, I went into some people, like, you go in and see, like, well, who's friends with them? And go in and, oh, what do they do? I guess there was a few, times that you go in and try and figure out who somebody was. But I don't know. I was just surprised. Maybe she had just, because everything, is also, so it probably was just something, man, I don't know. I don't remember interacting with him. So I don't remember him commenting on something I would have said. So I don't know how she figured it out. But so she messaged me and asked me to ask him about the chemtrail things. And because he is a scientist, something with in the air or so, I don't even remember what the hell he does. And so I asked him, and I had no idea what they were. I mean, we weren't talking about him back then. Yeah, her talking about him and asking, she was like, you know, the first person I ever even heard talk about him. And so after she talked about him, and she told me, and she said, look up this guy, his information. And so it was a guy way back then that she was looking at who was trying to whistleblow to the general public and stuff and was saying all this stuff. And so she was like, what the hell? And so then she wanted to ask somebody. So she was, this had to be 2016, 2017. And I wish I could remember when I got kicked off Facebook. And so, because I was taking pictures of the sun thing then, because when she started talking to me, I started looking up in the sky. When I asked my cousin, and when he came back with, I'm not into conspiracy theories, that's ridiculous kind of attitude, that piqued me. That was like, that's some bullshit. Like, as soon as somebody starts saying conspiracy theory, like, are you fucking kidding me? So, I started looking into it some, but I don't have to look that deep into things. Like, people like spend years and years and years looking into this shit, researching, going over and over it. Like, that is something that has surprised me, is how people get so fixated in their fear through this awakening and get really trapped in the process. And, so there's lots of things, you know, I just need to see a little bit and then I see it all. And so I don't need to go and just convince myself or something. That's what it seems like. So many people are trying to convince themselves. And so anyways, when it's inside of you, when it's internal, it's convinced. You're convinced. Like, I don't have to go past my convinced. I already have seen it. It's already been shown to me. I don't need to see all of the paperwork and stuff. And so that's when something resonates. You just know it's inside you. It's internal. And so the man, I haven't even gotten to the other thing. So the Facebook and the kicking me off and so I start going out and looking up at the skies. And this is when I was still in Spokane, and I started seeing the sprays everywhere. And when I was doing the sprays, and I don't remember, it seems like when it was around then that I knew too. Like, I'm not sure how it all, like, I can't remember how everything went together, but that's when I started hearing about the Nibiru and wormwood and all that. Because a lot of this stuff in my awakening was going really fast. And even though it took a long ass time, it was like, it keeps moving. If these people who get so stuck, it keeps moving when you spend your time in reflection. When you spend your time talking to them, it helps you to move through, because they'll tell you stuff that you don't have to sit there and just go over and over and over it. And there's some of those people go over and over and over, and not only that, they just are convinced because they live in fear. That is a fearful, and I think it is kind of the talking. Maybe I'm inhaling a lot of air or something. I don't know. That drives me crazy. But so so I started looking up there at the chemtrails. So I knew something was going on about that. And then I saw the planet up there. I was doing pictures. I was getting told I was crazy. Oh, that's ridiculous. And stuff on Facebook. And I was like, that's when it was going full on. Everything I was saying, I was just getting told I was crazy. And I've been told I was crazy a lot throughout my life, but this was a different kind of crazy. This was going from like, oh, you're so crazy, to, you are crazy. You are absolutely insane. And so there was just a switch that happened. And definitely, a part of my brain injury, I don't have that same thing that holds me back. Like that happens with a lot of people, like something with their impulse thing. That's when I got like all these tattoos and stuff. And that's what my lawyer tried to use in court, like she didn't look like this before she had a brain injury. But it's something, to me, it isn't like just being impulsive. It's just I look at things very differently. I look at it differently, and I don't, and I just see things differently. And so, but to other people, it can just seem impulsive, but it's just my attitude has changed. The things like that we thought, there's just a lot of things. I don't even want to go into all that stuff, but anyways, so, and that is when Facebook hacked my account, because it was a hacker. And so now to me, it's like, oh, so that was for sure on purpose. There's no way that saw happen accidentally. But then I got kicked off Facebook, and then because I was having people text me and say, quit asking me for money and stuff. It's like, I'm not asking you for money. My account was hacked. Don't listen to the people. And it's really embarrassing, because how many people didn't say anything to me, who just thought I'm just on there saying, give me money, because I couldn't go in. I couldn't do anything. Facebook wouldn't let me. And I don't remember how many followers and stuff. I was connected to a lot of people on Facebook, high school people, family, all sorts of people. And so, they hacked into that account and then started asking them all for money. So embarrassing. So there was nothing I could do. And I tried to argue with Facebook. I tried to do all of the things, but that's where I saw, this is some bullshit, man. They don't give a fuck. And so that opened my eyes to that part about the social media and the influence and the control and stuff like that. And so I was seeing a lot of this stuff that people are just seeing, but I was seeing it before. That's what I'm saying. It's what you're paying attention to. It's what you see. So many people, their minds weren't open, so they didn't see things that were right before them. And that's what we're about to see, so huge on such a mass scale. And this was so exciting too, because remember I said that my daughter, it was like, she's gone down the rabbit hole on the alley. And so then I said my couple of comments, and then nothing was said. And then my other daughter the next day came in and said, well, I want to know more about this. Who is that? How do I find the information? I want to listen to what she has to say. And I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. And so, but of course I had to go in and make a couple more comments, and really say how really bad it really is. And, how really dark it really is. And, and she shared a link of Allie's webpage, and Allie was going live. I'm not sure when, but it's mind-blowing, the things that are getting the people from the other side now to take notice. And so for my kids, because they're like into podcasts and crime and stuff like that. And so I don't know how it is, why all of a sudden they heard Allie, or the one daughter. It will spread. But the one daughter heard Allie and all of a sudden believed her and listened. I was like, how many motherfucking things have I said listen to? And then you don't just listen to people, Mom. People just make stuff up, Mother. My God, I can't believe you listen to people on the internet. So all those kinds of things. So I don't know what piqued the influence, what got her to suddenly go like, whoa, this woman is talking some serious shit. And she's really like, I can't believe it. And when I made a couple more comments, she's like, yeah, I think things are much darker than what I thought they were. It's like, yeah, well, I haven't been crazy. I haven't been just saying shit for no reason. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. So that felt like so positive. I don't know, I'm not going to harass or anything like that. But this morning, the video that I saw of they're impeaching Joe. They keep putting in the things, and I don't know how many different steps that there is, but it keeps being they're impeaching him. And so I sent that little video of the Congress or House or whatever making their statement, and or one of the senators or whoever, however their whole thing works. It's all such bullshit. It's really aggravating too, because the guy's not even fucking, we don't have to go through the process. We're going through the process just because it's the show. So we have to go through the process, even though the process is totally unnecessary. But anyways, that's where you just got to sit back and be like, okay, what do I do with this day? How do I keep myself calm with this frustration? And so, but I was so excited about that. I couldn't even believe it. And it really has them now being like, okay, so maybe there is something more going on here. Maybe there is. And she's a big old whistleblower. Like, I don't even know how much stuff she's all saying. I've only seen a few clips of her. I just know, and she's got a lot of shit on Joe, man. She got a lot of shit on Joe. And she supposedly, there's people going out and showing information that it's Tupac's daughter. And there's pictures of like the mom and Tupac and her as a baby and stuff. Like there's pictures. But, I don't know. But supposedly the word on the street is that Tupac sold her as a baby for his fame, and then she was sold into the institute and was used, and and then he was also, he's one too, that Quincy Jones, like, I think he came out and said about Quincy Jones, wants you to do sex on him in order to get famous and stuff. And it's so mind-boggling to these people who think like the LGBTQ, is when you got all these famous people who are hiding this stuff, then, where's the support? Why are they still hiding? It's such a supportive world, because people don't really understand. And there's so many people who are gay who are saying, like, we just wanted to be accepted. And now they've taken this, a thing that is attached to our names to it. And now they're going off in this completely, it's all about sex and perversion. And everybody better accept it. And see, they take it and they turn it. I just feel bad because I've known tons and tons of gay people. I was interacting with gay people back in when I very first went to hair school, straight out of high school. And I knew tons of gay people. And so I hung out with them, friends with them, everything. And so, I went to gay clubs. So anyways, I just, I know, I saw from the inside a lot of the struggles of what, the people wanting to be accepted and stuff. And then, and then I saw like how it just went into such, there was a lot of that just sex and stuff, like when you went to the clubs and stuff, that was just like people doing it. So there was like a perversion that came from the just do it with anybody, everybody, all the time, and it created like this sex addiction, just feeding that beast inside of that, the endorphin charge that you get having this wild sex with strangers or something. And so it triggered, but that is the dark side, and that's what I was saying. So many people were triggered by the dark side. So many people, like, the dark was there, so they decided to use it. And that is where, okay, so this is where I'm seeing a lot of videos of people saying this now, because there's so many arrests in places, and it is starting to be where it's going to be people's family members, and where people are now going like, whoa, like shit's about to get real. These people are being arrested. Like there's going to be people whose family members are involved. And as I've been saying this whole time, people are going to be really surprised, because people don't, it can be, people who have been out doing business practices, unethical business practices, are involved with people who have done some serious crimes. And, however, and some of them may have not done anything bad, but they're going to somehow, they are involved with certain people. So there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be going down, and families are going to be surprised. And this is one thing too, is the church is a big thing. You know, there's a lot of things. Churches keep getting found to be a part of, you know, the traffic situation, and traffic leads to, you know, hard. I'm trying to space these words or say them weird so that I don't get flagged, because it's just so bad. But no matter what, they're gonna sit and hold my videos back anyways. But like the heart, you know, it all goes together, and so, and all of it goes towards food. Everything is, you know, what we're fed, and people are freaking out now because the lab meat is now been okay to be in the stores, and they'll make it cheaper and stuff for sure. You know, if you want real chicken, then you got to pay big bucks. But if you want the lab grown chicken, but you know, to me, it's kind of like, well, lab grown chicken might be better than eating leftover humans and bugs mixed in with it. Like, I don't know, maybe. She's having a time. And man, she had such a busy day yesterday. Honey, what is it? Can you just sit down and let me finish what I'm doing, please? Stella, can't you just sit down? She can't get comfortable. She just wants to go out and walk and walk and walk and play and run around. So I know a part of her feels good, but what are we, like, I would say maybe 6 weeks on the Borax. And I think for more severe arthritis, it takes a little time, because it's supposedly osteoporosis. It can turn it around, turns around arthritis, so it builds stuff back up. So I'm sure she's feels good enough that she wants to go out and run around and play. And that little kid came by yesterday again. Oh yeah, this was really cute too, because this little girl, you know, I feel like there's so many kids out there who just want to be seen. They just want to be heard. They just want somebody to talk to them. They just want somebody to listen to them. And I'd seen her come by the day before. I was on the couch conked out, and I heard all this barking. And but I'm always aware, so I was like, oh, I bet that's that girl. I bet she's out there. And I was like, oh, I'm not getting up. I'm way too tired. I'm still snoring anyways. Fuck it. And so I just kept laying there, but I kept being barking and stuff. So after a few minutes, I got up to shut the curtains, and her and another person was down there with 2 dogs walking. And when I stood up to shut the curtains, she looked, and I just shut the curtains. I was like, fuck that, man. I am no way do I have it in me to go out and sit and talk. I'm fucking can't even barely function. And so I told her yesterday, I said, usually by 7, Stella's asleep. I mean, sometimes you might find her that she went out at 7:30 and went potty or something like that, and wanted to sit outside for a few minutes, depending on if she's hot inside. But normally she's asleep early, because she gets up early, and or she can't sleep good. You know, old people with arthritis don't sleep good, because you can't stay comfortable very long in one position. And so anyways, you know, so with the little girl though, she was out there walking around. I was just started raking and cleaning up and stuff. And so she'll walk around and talk to Stella, and she'll want to talk to me and stuff. And so she was, she goes, yeah, well, I probably won't be able to come by on the August 28th. And I looked at her and I said, yeah. And she goes, yeah, I know that's kind of far, but I probably won't be able to come because it's orientation for high school. So cute. Oh my God. The cutest thing. She just wants to talk about her orientation with high school and wants to bring it up and how excited she is. She's going into high school, and oh, it makes me want to cry. It's so cute how, you know, kids are just getting so fucked over, man. Sad. And because it's so simple, you know, they just want to be connected. They just want to understand this place. They just want to have fun and socialize, and, you know. Anyways, I just thought that was really, really cute. And so I asked her, you know, some stuff about it. But I was like, oh, that's so cute. She just wants to talk about it. And I was like, that just, again, makes me think, you know, like, as grandma's stressed out, and dad, I don't even know I don't know what her parents, she doesn't just say all this stuff. I don't even know where she lives. like, I'll be like, well, where do you live? Oh, we, back over there, and stuff. So I'm not sure, like, if she's embarrassed of their house or something, or what the deal is. But, and I'm not sure of the living situation, but kind of just feels like, just kind of, when kids, be quiet, get out of the way, don't make so much noise, But I can understand a grandma there, and she's got all the dog and kids, and she's trying to help her son out and all of that, or maybe it's the grandma moved in with the kids. I don't think so, though. I think it's the other way around. I'm pretty sure that she said they live at grandma's house. And, someone will say, like, oh, that grandma, she could be sitting there. Like, I don't know, that grandma could be at work all day and comes home and she's like, fuck, I don't want to be cooking dinner now too. Fuck, I already raised my kids, so, but that is for that grandma to learn to take her own boundaries. And, or, sometimes you're going to have to hurt your kids' feelings. And, but sometimes pushing people is what they need. And sometimes pushing people, they fall. And then you feel guilty and you feel like you shouldn't have pushed them. But really, everybody needs a push if they're stuck, if they're stagnant, because they get into a place of doubt, not believing in themselves, or overburdened or overworked or whatever. But, but there's also the part of people being able to live in that kind of village kind of way. Like, there's things that need to change on each individual person. We all need to change our attitude, what we think is important, how we think we should live, and all those things. We're all in this reevaluation, is the reprioritizing of life, and what is life about? Is it about going to work and trying to have a big house and have all these things, or is it about living and experiencing and enjoying your time with people while you're with them? And so, I think all of these things are changing and stuff. I think the sadness and the problems with the kids is so that we can see. That's the hand of God, but you have to have eyes to see. And the reason you don't have eyes to see is because you're using your eyes to focus on something probably that scares you or bothers you or you feel bad about, instead of focusing on things that are more productive. But that is the mind trap of the people who get so stuck in pain and trauma and stuff like that. So, but each person has to release themselves. They have to see it for themselves. And another thing too is, I had seen somebody saying, disclosure isn't just happening with them telling all this stuff on the news and all this stuff being leaked out and stuff. The disclosure is happening also in all the movies and everything. It's telling us all the truth. And I have been saying that, like, there's so much disclosure in shows. It's crazy. And it shows I've never even heard of. And my guides will pop it up and I'll watch it and it'll be like, whoa. It will have stuff that is going on and it will be like things, and it's weird. And so, I definitely noticed that, about that there's so much disclosure all around us, and it's in the movies and everything. And so this show that my daughter had told me to watch, the Jan Broberg story. And so when she had told me, she would told everybody on the family text thing. And she was saying it's such a weird story. And I didn't have anything to do. I'm just sitting here crocheting and listening to these kind of things. And sometimes it's like, I just want to watch something or put something on, listen to talking or something. And so I was wanting to watch something, and I'm still like haunted by these people in the Vanderpump Rules. Like, I really wonder what the hell is going on with them. Like, are they getting any more healing? Are they seeing their roles? Are they, like, it's strange, and they leave that stuff off like that. I don't know. I hope Raquel and Tom do get together. I hope they get together and be happy and can build a life and respect one another and be there for each other throughout life and talk to each other and have a good relationship. Just because Tom isn't good at breaking up with people, like, breaking up with people is hard. I don't know how to judge somebody because they don't know how to break up with people. And, lots of people, use the next relationship to break up. Lots of people. So just because he's doing it, I'm not going to sit there and say he's worse than other people. Fuck, I've known lots of people who use... I've known people who stay in shitty ass relationships waiting for that special someone to come and take them away from it. So I'm probably one of them. I was probably one of them when I was in my 30s. And I was, there was definitely parts of my life where I felt very trapped. Like 4 kids, this guy who's just fucking always angry, always lying, and it's like, fuck, dude. It was like hell. And, and I'm sure, I think if a guy even talked to me, it was nice. I was like, oh, are you the one? Take me away, please, save me. There was a lot of things I didn't understand about life back then when I was in my, most active part of my dysfunction, I would say. So, but, those are all things that we can fix. We can heal ourselves. We can do different. We can do better. But we have to accept that we're broken. We have to accept that that's the empowerment part. That is the part where people always want to blame somebody else, is because they can't take the blame for themselves. They can't take the blame for their own emotions. So they go blame somebody else. But that is not going to help anything. It's not going to help you. It's not going to make you better. You can't fix them. They're not going to stop what they're doing. You are the one who has to be fixed. You have to see your part. And that's the empowerment. Once you can see your part, then you have control of the situation, because you don't have to play your part. You can change your part. And so, but if all you're doing is focusing on everybody else, how are you going to change your part? How are you going to do anything? Because it's you just sit around whining about, oh, they did this to me. They did that to me. Oh, they're so mean. Oh, I'm so helpless. There's nothing I can do about it. That is your attitude. That's an attitude towards life. And that's an attitude that you can change. That is a defeated feeling, probably from just things happening in your life and not understanding that was happening for you. So you start feeling like life was out to get you. And, you just don't feel in sync. And so then you feel like you're a victim in the world. But you can change that attitude. It's all changing your attitude and minding the shop and stuff. And so, and it's a process. So don't be hard on yourself if you're struggling through the process. It's a process. And what do we have? A few people out there. Well, we have a bunch of people out there who are misleading people. Like, I can't even tell you how many fucking person after person. Okay, well, the sun is doing this, the earth is doing this, so your DNA is being upgraded, so that's why you're feeling sick. So just, write it out, and then when it's over, you're going to be a new advanced person. It's so absurd. And then you have the people like me out there explaining it, and to me, a lot of this stuff is just easy and natural. And so, I may not be explaining it very easy for somebody who's trying to learn and figure it out. So that's why I'm like, listen to a lot of different people. But when you listen to a lot of different people, you got to have good discernment, because there's a lot of people out there who are preaching like that they are super spiritual when they don't even know the first thing about spirituality. They want to just make rules. Like, all of a sudden, spirituality is like religion. It's just all about rules and stuff. And spirituality is your own spiritual connection to yourself. So it doesn't, why would I listen to someone else's rules? And where they, try and start telling you what you need to do and how you need to do it and bullshit like that. And the only thing to me is about healing. It to me is a significant thing about your spirit is the healing that can make a change in your life. And so, but it's up to each person, I can just keep saying, I was a messed up person and I had a crisis in my life and I healed and it made my life better, and when I had a crisis, I could have gone the other direction. I could have fucking went to a nursing home. Like, I could be living in a nursing home. I could have taken the lazy way. Here, I'm going to sit and whine and cry about how unfair the world is. And have you guys sit here and feed me and take care of me. so I can sit and whine about, you know, the mistreatment of the world. I didn't go that route. There was definitely times where I thought, I'll just take myself out. This is just some pointless bullshit. So, you know, it's a deep struggle to get through. But, you know, it was me and my guides. There's nobody out there who was helping me or telling me. So the things I'm sharing, you know, are my experiences. But everybody's got their own experiences. So, you know, I can just, to me, it's like plant seeds, peak something in somebody else, give them some other, you know, influence or other perspective or whatever. So that to me is what is the important part, is just the more and more of us that just keep sharing how we did it. And, you know, it will help more people be able to do it for themselves. And, but the thing that I wanted to talk about too, let me see, did I finish the other things? I don't know. Sometimes I know I leave things just chopped off because it all just starts going. It's like, it is like looking at a tree and there's just fruit on every branch. And it's like, it's hard to just stay focused on, just go up that branch, go through there and lead to that. They all go together. It's something that I saw, and it's something that I've not ever stopped seeing since I saw it. And it's all the different ways that they show me too. That was like a scream, how you can hear a scream, but the sound goes out into, it permeates. That's how everything is. It is that going out from and it permeates out. It bleeds out into everything else energetically. It all goes in. And so, anyways, what I wanted to say was on that show. So my daughter had told me to watch this Jan Bromberg story. And so when I started watching it, because I was like, well, who the hell is that? I don't even know who that is. And so when I started watching it, then I was like, oh, fuck, I've heard of this story. This was a weird ass story. And, but I didn't know all the stuff about it. Like, I don't even remember what I knew about it. But, I knew that there was a girl who was told that she was she had to save this planet, and he would talk to her through this speaker and tell her that she was from this other planet, that she was there on a mission, that she had to have a baby with this guy to save the planet because they needed this half-human baby, and all this whole thing. It was such an elaborate scheme. But it fucked with this kid's head. Like, oh my God. This guy is so fucking evil. I can't even believe this actor played this part. Because I won't see this actor ever again the same. That's for sure. And if that to him makes him a good actor, okay. Because to me, fuck. To me, it's like, do you have that part of that inside of you? Like, it's creepy. And so on the part where the disclosure to me on this movie was, for one thing, the channel that's on. And I told you already about the commercial that came onto that channel, which was completely misplaced, which is completely done on purpose. Then they, man, there's just rainbows, every fucking thing. It's all like drag show, but it's all the stuff on that channel. And so but the thing that really got me on the show, because it seemed like there was something else I was about to say, but the thing that was really getting me, okay, yeah, because the actor, to me now, I just look at him as like, what the fuck? Same way as the guy that was the guy on Lovely Bones. Like, it's hard to look at him like now without just seeing you as a fucking weirdo pervert creep. And, man, something is bothering her. And I'll just go let her out real quick. Hold on. Here. Man, it's pretty foggy out there. Very foggy. So anyways, then, so the guy, had this elaborate fucking story. So one of the things, it clearly shows in disclosure the corruption in our fucking system. Oh my God, damn. Are the judicial, and it just, I don't know. I mean, now, because where we're at, we know, like, the FBI involvement, like, all these, where they're protecting certain people and stuff. So that definitely, I felt like, was in there, where you could see, like, there was, and this was back in the 70s, but you could see where there was some good FBI agents, and then you could see where there was not. And so, to me, that is kind of disclosure to show kind of like, there was definitely people who didn't give a fuck. Didn't give a fuck. What was going on with the kids or whatever. We're not going to waste, bureau money or time on that kind of shit. And so that, comes down from the top. We know, like, there's a reason why there wasn't very many kids being kidnapped back then. And then it went into tons and tons and tons. But back then, too, or they didn't even know what a pedo was. And they didn't even know, I mean, it's strange when you watch it. Just, and the guy is so arrogant. I mean, he's got more mental illness than just, his attraction. He's got a lot of, he's such a narcissist. He seems to be like antisocial behavior disorder or something. Like, he doesn't care about other people and how he affects them. And one of the big things to me is when you're watching it, because it's 9 episodes, and they're like an hour long, and it's heavy, man. And one of the the big thing that was driving me so crazy, that to me is a big part of the disclosure that we need to see, is, and to me, this is where you would have to watch it for yourself, because maybe I'm picking up on it differently, but to me, 100%, they were showing it as a love story. It was so sickening. Every fucking time that this motherfucker would be up, around this kid. And this started when she was 12. I mean, she was a little fucking kid. And then it goes back where his wife even, well, that's when we got together, when I was 14. He's got a history. And then plus it shows how it's so much about control. Like, get this little girl before she, because even if she put on lipstick one time when she got to be like 16, she put on lipstick. And he is like, oh, get that off your mouth. That's disgusting. And it was like, oh my gosh. So it's like this ultra dad. It's not even like your regular dad that's bossing you around. Then you've got this other one. And he, oh my God, he's disgusting, this guy. So, he's so cruel and mean to people. So manipulative. Oh my gosh. But the grooming. So he was grooming the family the whole time. And when I was watching that, I was like, that is what they've been doing. Our society, they've been grooming the parents. That's why when we're sitting here going like, how do these parents do this? Like, what is wrong with these parents? I'm telling you, watch that show and you'll be doing it the same thing, as like, because you're sitting there going, what is the hell with these parents? But you watch him groom them, and then you know what the parents feel. Like, you completely can relate to how the parents feel with their insecurities and stuff. And he works people's insecurities. And so that is how the CIA, they figured out people's insecurities, and then they began to work them and to create. So they began grooming these people. All these parents, they're groomed. They're groomed to hand their kids over, just like these people were. So that is what, to me was a huge disclosure. To me, that's what I could see. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the same thing that our government has done to the people, has groomed them to accept these things. And then these people, it's not just they're being abused, but when they wake up to being like how they've been so groomed, and they're going to feel so dirty. Like, I feel so much shame and gross. Like, any kid who all of a sudden realizes, because it's even in this show where the girl all of a sudden realizes that she was sexually abused. Because before that, she thought she was on a mission trying to save the planet. And then when she got to be 16, well, he was obsessed. He still wanted to keep seeing her, but she did reach a point of blowing him off. But he wasn't, he had more than one 14-year-old girl under, he had one waiting in the halls all the time. He was always working it. And this guy's fucking, and how do you think he gets access to them? Through their parents, through their moms, through their dads, and this was a big thing back in the 70s where, they didn't have to just go out and do some stuff because they could be hidden because people didn't know what they were. So they could infiltrate into families and stuff. And I mean, I was born to one. So, but you could see that how they could infiltrate in throughout society because people didn't know who they were. So they could go do their dirty deeds and nobody would know. And then plus all they had to do was go to church and have people sit there and say that what a good guy they were. And it also, another disclosure is he's from the LDS. He went in and told them. And this is also what I saw in the Amish church, these really strict ones, so that they can go in and the guy can be abolished of his sins. Is that the word? Because the girl was influencing him. She was trying to, what is the word? Torture, but torture in another kind of way. Sexual torture. She's got me so bound up. I just can't take it. So she what was it? Because he kept saying it in the Amish movie where he was trying to, it's the girl's fault. She's trying to seduce me. And these kids are just running around trying to seduce these old men. And so, and then it's her desires. Really? She has hormones. So where are these desires coming from? Maybe they're in your fucking crazy head. So the girl, okay, wait, because there's a bunch of things. So, the parents being groomed, the girl, because he goes to, and this is another thing too, that anybody would have to go to the church. Maybe they were all from this LDS church, because they'd have to go to the church, say what they did, like tell their sins, and then the church group men, these old fucking men, would sit there and either say, well, you can't come to church for 2 months. You're on restriction, so you have to stay home and think about what you did. Or, well, that's just too bad. Now you are just, like when the woman, because the couple got divorced for a while. This guy just tractored through these people's lives like, fuck. And that's where nothing happens by accident. That is a soul. These people are connected. Like, that is why they're these souls working this stuff out. And some of the people, really, I thought that they were really learning a lot. And that guy, is he just the instigator for the soul journey to come in to have such a heavy thing? And then, and it's a penance for his karma to play that role so that he can clean up all of the stuff he's put out of balance. So he plays that role for the other people. See, so we don't know. We can't necessarily know, like, the guy's truly that evil, and we've got these evil beings out there because you've got people who are playing parts to in the incarnation, in the story. So it's just people playing roles. And so people who you think are evil don't necessarily have to be evil. And so the guy, he was, okay, so yeah, he went to the church and he told them. They knew. He fucking told them when she was 12 years old. he went to the LDS. And see, this is where so much disclosure is going to come out. So much about the church's influence and the destruction that churches have created in towns, and deciding who is good and who's bad, who can be taught. Like, the church has been the one doing this in communities. And the people always turn to the church. And I lived through it. I saw it. I know. I left the church way back then. I know what the influence was of the church on society. And I know how the people were. And I was in one of those families. And so I know how the church, I was experienced it from the inside, and I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I've seen the destruction, and I've seen what, that it was all done on purpose. And it's all a part of the control of the communities and the people. And so, so when she was 12, when he became obsessed, when he met them, because he had moved there. He'd moved there because they had sent him there because he was already messing around with some other kids. So they sent him to Pocatello in Idaho. I think it was Pocatello, Idaho. Something like that, in a really small little podunk town. So they sent him there because he was trying to do it with other 14-year-old girls at the church. And so, and, he's married to when she was 14, and he's got 4 kids. And so the church talked to him and said, well, you need to go move. And so he moved to this other town, and then he started seeing this family. They started becoming friends with his family. And I think he saw them at church. He saw the little girl at church. And right away, he was obsessed with her. He's really into little ones. And so he started becoming friends with their family. And this guy was, oh my God. So, God, you just have to watch. The degree of the manipulation is mind-boggling. And his ability to just lie and not, he's pathological. And, but so when he moved and he started befriending these people, and he started, he would come up with all these ways to spend time with these people, and to always be getting their daughter off alone. But see, that people didn't think anything about that back then. They just thought, oh, our daughter's special, and this nice guy has noticed. And so he's trying to do things to help her. And, but really he's dating her. And so, but they don't know, because, this isn't something that was in their reference. They didn't have any idea that some old guy with 4 kids who's got a wife was going to be dating a 12-year-old. And so, and trying to trick the family the whole time. Like, this guy was like something else. And so when that all started, he was already, he would drug her all the time. He would always be giving her allergy medicine. And like, I'm not going to give my kid allergy medicine. Get the fuck out of here. But people were, there's a part where it's kind of like the parents were so sweet and so trusting and so kind that it was like, she was so lucky to have parents like that, but the kind of parents that are totally taken advantage of. And so, there's that a kind of thing too, where you can see how, these kind, loving people who were God-fearing for 100%, they got down for family prayer at night, everybody on their knees praying together. And, that was back then in the 60s and 70s. It was very family and tight. And they created that division, and they destroyed all of that, because that's why I said it's so strange, because what they were programming or trying to make us all be is like we weren't good enough. Like we weren't Ozzy and Harriet enough for any of us who were growing up and knew that like we're weirdos and stuff like that. When I was hanging out with gay people, oh my God, my mom freaked the fuck out. And I think she was sure I was gay. And when you're young, you're going to try different things. You're going to see, but, I think for her, she was like freaking out because my mom was very, very religious. And anyways, that's the whole thing. But so when he goes to the church, he went to the church and confessed to this fucking old group of men. And because the FBI goes in and talks to him and finds all this out. And he goes in and confesses and told them that he was touching that little girl. He was doing stuff to that little girl. And she was 12 years old. And so the people of the church said they realized he was worse. So they told him I don't remember what they told him. It was something, I think like he couldn't be one of the elders anymore or something. It was something ridiculous. And, but not tell the family, not tell anybody, just continue to let this guy be out there, you know, as a predator in this community. And, you know, having all these girls just not be safe from this fucking weirdo. And so, but the church covers it up. See, they hide stuff. And there's so much stuff coming out with the LDS church too. So much. I mean, there are definitely going to be churches going down. They're a part of the traffic situation, part of the whole thing. And that is where people are starting to realize is like people who they know in church, people who, you know, they're pastors. There's going to be people who are going to be going down all over the place. And that is going to probably be a big part of the awakening for the religious people, is to see the people out of their things so that they can see the corruption, because they haven't even been noticing what's been going on with the Pope and whatnot. And so they'll have to, you know, go through the experience in a different way. But that probably will be, you know, some people will wake up to people being arrested from their churches and stuff, the elders and whatnot. So, you know, because that's right there in that show. I mean, they knew what's going on and they kept it to themselves. They, you know, they protect themselves. They protect, and it is weird too, is like, I don't know, you know, we would think that they would protect us, the good people, from the people who are doing the crimes, but they protect the criminals. Like, and I'm sure it's all a bunch of different reasons. Maybe some of them is that they don't want to be associated, so they don't want any association with their name. They don't want to acknowledge it. They want to put it back on the person. This guy said, well, he came in and he repented. And in the Bible, if you repent, then, you know, there's nothing we can do. It's between you and God. And so, you know, he goes, we thought we were doing the right thing. He seemed like he really wanted to repent. We didn't know he was going to still keep going out and doing it. And so, but there, you know, this is a learning thing. That's why I said we're all here learning, even though we want to judge. Oh, see, I didn't even know where she was for a second. Okay, hold on. I'm almost done. Hold on. I'm almost done, honey. Yeah, she seemed strange. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. She just, like, not looking at me, just looking down. I don't know. She probably really doesn't feel good. I know that they're dumping some sort of poison on us. And I know it affects her. As in, and when I sit there and say it, you know, and I know it sounds crazy. And especially then when I'm just knocked out, like I can't even stay awake and stuff. And, but then, like all yesterday, she wouldn't eat. She didn't feel good. And she just laying there. And so I just feel certain. Oh, yeah. And also the boron is anti-parasitic. And I take the boron every day. But I'm going to start doing the charcoal once a week or something. Because if that is right, where it kills all these different parasites and stuff, but then you get a buildup of the parasites just sitting there rotting away or something. And it's not like worms, because I think it's mostly is microscopic. I don't think that we can see this stuff. Like, I don't know how people are going bathroom worms. Like I had heard before a long time ago, like when kids would eat stuff and have dirty fingers, the reason why they need to wash their hands is they'll get pinworms. And I've been around a lot of kids, you know, who got pinworms by eating stuff with dirty fingers, and because it's in the dirt, the larvae or whatever, and so then they'll get the pinworms, and so those will definitely, when they go to the bathroom, you'll see worms in the toilet, and but all these other ones, but all these people are having all these different worms coming out of them. Tapeworm. I mean, I saw the worm coming out of a girl's nose. I saw that video. Like, that was gruesome. I saw the video of the fucking spider coming out of the woman's ear. Like, bug, man. God, this is a lot. I'm so glad. I just want to get into the part where we're just like, I'm a hologram. I don't feel all that stuff. I want to feel the good stuff, though. I want to be a hologram that can feel the good stuff. Like I certainly don't want, you know, orgasms to be a thing of the past. I want to keep that in the forefront of the future. So, I don't know. There's parts of the hologram, but I don't know. I mean, we can already, and we're a hologram, so that should stay the same. What is going to change? I think it's going to change, like, our thing about what we need to eat. I think eating is going to change. I think a lot of, and it can be like weaning down. That's what I've noticed with me. It's kind of like weaning off of food. It's kind of like things, I've got so much food right now, and it is like, I don't know. I wish I had the thing to want to eat it. All I ever want to do is eat like Danishes and cookies and stuff. I don't want to, eating a healthy meal is, definitely, you know, once a day, maybe, or once every couple days. Like, I don't know, but I think that is going to keep changing with people. Like, the more you tune into your body, the more you see, like, well, I'm not really hungry. Why would I go eat if I don't feel hungry? And so something, you know, just changes. So there's those things, but I swear, I think one of the biggest things is this idea of us being able to control ourselves, like to, you know, just kind of like when you heal, your physical body will change. Your physical body represents your pain. And so when you heal it, it will start manifesting into a more healed version of yourself. And so that, just your healing, influences how you look. And then, so that, if you get what I'm saying, so healing changes the dynamic, the being, your structure. Something changes. Like, people right away just start losing weight, just all sorts of things. Everybody's got their own things, but you start changing. But see, once we get control of that, and we start being able to realize, that is when we start being able to, like, transcend what we believe of gravity or whatever, where I think, you know, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be really cool about what we can do. But we have to program ourselves to realize the things we can do, because all we've been told is the things we can't do, and to hold us back. And so you got to overcome all of those things to get to the part where you can do. And I think that is a part of it. And another one too, I'll just do this one real quick, because there's going to be more of this. I just said this too. And this one has already happened, but there's going to be more and more of it. Is because this was a girl, and she was doing her first video, and her face is all jacked up right here. When I worked in the, I think it was when I was in nursing school, and I was on the psych ward at the hospital, and one of the patients was a suicide attempt that lived. And he said, because I talked to him a lot, his face was jacked, and his, I think he was blind in both eyes. Maybe he had sight in one eye. I don't remember, but his got his face blown off. And but he kept saying that his girlfriend was trying to murder him. If you sat and talked to him, he would start telling you this whole story. But then the counselors or whatever would say, oh, he's just saying that. He doesn't want to face it. So I don't know. I mean, there's a whole thing about my stepsister where, you know, they found her hung in the closet, and they said that she did it to herself, but there's a lot of suspicion that it was done by somebody else. So I don't know. She lived though. But she is in a nursing home, and she's very young, and but she had I think she was dead for like 15 or 20 minutes. And so she has severe brain injury. And so, but I mean, she can walk and talk and stuff like that, but she's got, you know, but she's happier than she was. She was, you know, it's so much sad stuff in the world, man. It's hard. It's a hard thing to, with everybody's pain and suffering and what people go through. I keep thinking about, well, the soul. When you get to the other side, the soul doesn't feel the pain and suffering we feel here. So just keep that in mind when you think about the sadness and all this stuff. Is the soul is really playing a part, you know. And so, but this girl in this video, she, in 2022, I think it was like around a year ago, she did 2 shotgun blasts, which, I mean, they said that about, oh, what's his name? Courtney Love's husband, and supposedly she killed Kurt Cobain, because they kept saying he had 2 shotgun blasts. How is that possible? And this girl did. She said she shot herself 2 times right here. And she said, you know, 2 blasts should have blown her fucking head off, but it didn't. And so it kind of, this is part of her is jacked. The other guy, I think his was here, and it blew. And so there's a lot of people who try and commit, and they instead get to live their lives in a different, you know, because everything is about lessons. It's an individual thing, man. And so, but she did it twice. And so this part is like, you know, she's got some messed up stuff. So she just, I mean, she doesn't look like a scary monster. She just looks like, you know, something happened. And, but I mean, there's people like, I saw another one yesterday too, of a woman who, and her face is really jacked too, is, hers was an abuser, blasted her 3 times, 1 in the face. See, she's going again. But anyway, so I'll just finish up with this one, because she said that it was a miracle that she was alive. And so she's there to tell her story, and she's been wondering why she's back. She was dead 15 minutes, I think. And she's been wondering why she's back, and she's here to share her story. Just a second, Stella, I'll quit. And then, God damn it. There, how's that? Got better? I swear, she's going around like she can barely walk, but I swear to God, she'll be out there on the porch whining and crying. Let's go, let's go. It's like, girl. So anyways, this woman was saying that she's a miracle, and that there was no reason, and that she's already had a couple surgeries, but she's gonna, you know, keep talking about this, and you know, because there's a lot of things, you know, with suicide, and you know, what people need to hear when they're down there in that place. And so, you know, she's going to be speaking from the heart, sounds, and you know, and those kinds of things. That's why I said, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very shocking to people. Like, people are expecting, like, you know, angels and stuff to come. You know, there's perfect, beautiful beings that are going to come here to shake up the planet and stuff. But I don't think so. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of people who people think are the rejects. It's going to be the people that people looked at as the crazy people and the rejects of society. and that's going to be the upside down, all of a sudden realizing that the people who you were rejecting were really, it is just going to be a lot, I think. But there's going to be a lot of people like that are going to be out there helping people. And it's kind of like it's the hand of God. It's the bumpers in society. It's the ones that come in to, to show how far things can go, to tell their stories, to help people to grow and to be more mindful and more thoughtful, and how these people got through their stuff with their resilience and how they've been able to make comebacks in their lives. And even with having physical physical anomalies, which there's people who won't even leave their house if they have a zit. There's people who become paralyzed over, how they feel like they don't look good enough. And, I know I was one. I was very insecure about my looks. And so, I completely relate with people who feel like, like there's something wrong with them. I feel like we just all need to acknowledge that we all feel like something's wrong with us. We're not all focused. The people who are focused on what's wrong with somebody else is just so that they can take the focus off of themselves and focus on somebody else. And it also is their own dysfunction. It's not like you're doing something worse. It's because this person's dysfunctional and they need to focus on something outside of them in order to make them feel better. And that's another thing where we got to stop taking on other people's attitudes, other people's perceptions, other people's, you accept it, like you can see it, but that doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. You don't have to, you just, even if you don't see it, like I can be talking about lots of things and people not see it, you're going to see what you have the ability to see. And it's important to just continue to open your mind so you can see more and see more and see more. Oh, yeah, and this thing that I said that was up there the other day that was shining. Because I had seen this video with this lady talking about these decanters, these old alcohol decanters. You can find them in thrift stores and stuff. A few years ago, my daughter had given me 2 that she had gotten. And, they're really pretty. And this woman was showing all these different uses for them and stuff. And she said you can put... incense. It can be an incense thing. You put the incense down there and the smoke comes out. So I tried that, but it didn't work. The incense just went out for me. But so anyways, the decanters are really pretty. So I had set one up there, and that is the thing. It's those lines going with the light reflection where it's like so weird how it looks like 11:11. So anyways, that's what it is that's over there. Because now I see it all the time. But anyway, so disclosures out there, all the things are there. When you go and watch that movie too, and on that show, to me, they're totally marketing a love story. And people got to realize that there's certain people who know what channels to go to see their stuff. I have been saying this for so motherfucking long about the sex and stuff in shows. And, they sit there and people just accept it. Yeah, well, we're going to have this show, a bunch of 14-year-olds doing it. And, but they're really 26, so that's okay. But it's the fantasy. And so they're selling the fantasy. And then we all accept it. I don't have any idea why. I don't. I constantly am saying, to the point even where my kids are like, Mom, you don't have to worry. You can watch it. There's not a bunch of sex. It's like, okay, I'm just a weirdo prude, I guess. But to me, it's like it's gone too far. I'm not a voyeur. I don't want to watch other people have sex. I don't give a fuck about it. And so to me, it disturbs me. And it's a performance. It's not fucking real. And and it's a performance that can interfere with your own sexual stuff. And it does to a lot of people. And so it's, it's bullshit, but whatever. So but in the story, so, and all these different ones, because Netflix has got so many, and where people can go watch them and get that fantasy of, watching kids do it. And then it's always these kids that really want to do it too. Boy, they just, and that's the part that feeds them. Well, they want it. They want it. So they put it into the shows, even though, like, if you go and get a group of 14-year-old, a group of 14-year-olds that have been influenced by media and a group of 14-year-olds that haven't been, what a difference that would be. Let's try that little experiment. And so, and you could even go in other countries, like, 14-year-olds, depending on the country. If it's a country where they have to survive, they could be gangsters when they're 10 years old. But, if you took apples to apples and it was just, suburban kids living their lives, and you had ones that were from America who were raised on sex and porn on the TV every night, and kids who have not had a TV in their house, then, maybe like in the Netherlands or something, you compare those kids, it's going to be very different. There's going to be an innocence to either, here we have these kids, like girls that want to dress like strippers to go to school and shit. So, anyways, but that's all, created. It's all programmed. It's all, but in the movie, definitely 100%. They market it like it's a love story. Every time that these two people come on and they'll play these 70s songs, just what I was talking about. They get these songs and then they'll set a little scene for these little songs. And they're taking all these really good songs from the 70s and they're setting these little love scenes, these looks. This old fucker and this little kid. And oh my God. They do, oh, Jesus Christ. That was making me so sick through the movie. I was like, how in the hell can people not see this? Like, yeah, they pick what stories that they're going to promote. Whose stories they're going to tell. Because there's all sorts of stories out there. We got story after story of sickness out there. Like, there's so much coming out. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. And so when they pick a story, they're picking a story for a reason. And picking this one, I was like, oh, well, what a lovely love story we can show here. And there's definitely where they are making like, oh, yeah, she wanted it. She definitely wanted it. She's fighting for it. She's begging for it. It is like, fuck, man. So, yeah, it's like a disclosure. It's like the same thing of being in the haunted house and being a believer and being a non-believer. When you look at it, you can see, as a believer, you can see the hidden messaging. You can see the storyline. You can see the love story that's being sold to the certain people that know what station to tune into for their love stories. So, anyways, it's my take on it. So, just, what, now it's Sunday. And there's a lot of people saying that they're not going to just do that, turn off everything and just start turning on the thing. That is something that has been going around for a long time. They're going to turn off the internet and then they're going to just start playing the truth to us to tell us. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to, have a martial law, if they're going to lock us down, if the internet's going to go off. Now they've got this whole thing going where it's back to the bombing, back to this whole big drama. And it's so crazy how many people get really caught up in these dramas and think it's so real. It's like, oh, this isn't even real, people. And so, but it's all the storyline that's to lead to where we're headed. So is it back on the table now? The nuke that's going to really be an EMP that's going to really put us out of all the power so that they can make it as an excuse to crash the bank. But they're already impeaching Joe. So, all this stuff is just going. And people are being arrested right and left. Like, things are collapsing right and left. It's all going. It's going fast. And, it's going to keep being the people around you. You can keep waking up and seeing things. And just, this is where it's good time to have your knowledge. Like, there's a lot of things I could say to them, but I didn't put any pressure. I didn't, just take the chance now, because I know they've got to do it. I don't want to block anything and be like, yeah. I just said a few things like, yeah, it's pretty disturbing when you see how really deep this goes, these perverts and stuff like that. And then my daughter was like, yeah, I'm really thinking things are a lot worse than what I thought they were. Yeah, I've been trying to tell you. But she's already, she's in her own. So why would I go in and disrupt it? I'm the catalyst that always is like, don't want to listen to what she says. She's crazy. Well, I'm not going to listen, and I know there's going to be a part of that, well, that they're going to have to resolve for themselves. The things they weren't listening to or paying attention to because mom's so crazy and that's what mom was saying. So we're going to not do what mom says. We're going to do the opposite. And so there's going to be a part of that too, of their having to realize, because people are going to really, really be upset of how tricked they're going to feel. And they're really, really going to feel upset that there's other people who didn't get tricked. And it's really going to throw them. And it's really going to be a lot of processing and trying to resolve. And there's a lot of stuff that has to do with past lives and everything. So it has to do with their own balance, their own karma, their own life plan, life after life. Like it all is each person. And each person is going to seem like a lot of stuff, a lot of drama, a lot of sadness. And you just got to keep on putting it in perspective. Just keep on remembering. When we get out of this game and we're all meeting back in the field, we're all just high-fiving. We're all just having a good time. It isn't, nobody's really hurting anybody over here. Nobody's really dying over here. We're all just in a movie. We're all just playing a game. And so just keep that in mind with all of this stuff. And I'll say that kind of stuff to my kids and they just think, okay, mom's just crazy as shit. But just, do what you can to keep yourself sane. And for me, it is to just keep remembering that when we're in our real, true form, when we're in our soul form, none of this stuff matters. None of it. So the only thing that matters is what you learn from it. So anyways, I'm going to get going and have a good day. And, hopefully today, something does happen and they do. Like fucking goddamn set off your dumbass EMPs. Whatever the fuck you're going to do, hurry up and goddamn do it. Like, quit fucking dicking around. Well, we're maybe going to this is happening. Well, maybe this is going to happen. Well, maybe this is going to happen. It's like, motherfuckers, goddamn have something happen. You want something to happen, just fucking do it. Hurry up so we can get over it and we can start moving forward. This fucking sitting here waiting all the time for them to do their shit is like annoying as fuck. So, anyways, if you're annoyed, it's just, you just got to keep going. Just keep on going. It's going to be okay. We'll get through this. So, anyways, have a good day. We'll just hope that today is the beginning of our, I don't know, I just hope that they hurry up and fucking nuke us. So, talk to you later. Bye.